Anytime we encounter a word problem or an application problem, there is a general 5-step process that we can rely upon. The first step of the process is to read through the question, not once or twice, but typically 3 times. The first time we read through, we'll be skimming it to get a general context. The second time we read it, we'll look a little bit more carefully as to what the question is that we're trying to answer. And the third time we read through it, we'll be looking for more specific details about the information that's given. Once we are comfortable that we know what the question is that's being asked, we should formally define our variable. As we formally define our variable, we need to keep in mind a few things. First, we need to make sure the variable represents a number. Second, we need to make sure it's clear what the variable is representing. And third, if the variable or that value is measured using any particular units, in terms of feet, square feet, dollars, or miles, or any other sort of unit, we need to incorporate that into the definition. If there is more than one unknown that is being asked about, say the dimensions of a rectangle or other shape, we need to make sure we define an expression to represent the second unknown, using the first variable that we have defined. Once we have formally defined the variable and we know the context that we're working in, it's time to get to the heart of the problem, to set up the equation. We need to set up a single equation that makes use of that variable and other expressions that we might have defined, and will hopefully help us answer the question. The approach that we are taking in this particular course is to rely upon a single variable, and possibly other expressions that rely on that variable as well, and we set up a single equation. In future courses, you will learn how to work with more than one variable and more than one equation, but that is not within the context of this part of the course. The natural thing to do once we have set up an equation is to then solve that equation for the variable. It might be possible that once you've solved the equation, you've now found the value for your variable, but you might need to go and recalculate the other expressions. The final thing to do in your work is to then check your solution to make sure your answers do work in the original wording of the problem, and then to formally answer the question in a complete English sentence. While this is the 5-step process we will rely upon to approach all word problems, we do not need to typically number our work as we do it on paper. We want to be thinking about these 5 steps, applying these 5 steps, but just doing the work on paper that needs to be done on paper.